So this is the Will Clayton Church of Christ in Alma, Texas. This is June 24, 2020. This is our Wednesday Bible study. We encourage to interact and post questions and thoughts as well. We're dealing with a scriptural conversation about police, government, and citizen interaction. A scriptural conversation about police, government, and citizen interaction. And we're also coming off of this thought where we had our first two parts. We gave several different groups attention, and now we're going to deal with the police, the government interaction should I say, and how things should be conducted. We want to open up with everybody understanding that Proverbs chapter 4 is going to shed some light. We'll read these verses. This will be our text to read, and this will be a spinoff from where we're trying to go. Proverbs 4, verse number 1 starts us off by saying, "Hear you children, instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding." So he said, this is the instruction of a father, for I give you good doctrine. Forsake you not my law, for I was my father's son, Solomon tells us, and he explains to us, tender and beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. So David explains this to his son Solomon. Get wisdom, David tells him, as Solomon right. Get understanding, forget it not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, which means to be narrowed, constricted. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction, let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Now, as we look at this, the wisdom spoken of in Proverbs is not the wisdom you can learn from police training, political education, or psychology courses. There's no mathematical equation that can help you. There's no parental guidance that can assist you in your encounters. There is no understanding of the neighborhood, city, state, or country that is of value. Your only hope is to use the words of God on this subject. You will need a guy like myself who is of God, either male or female will do. The scriptures tell you can't get it. Look at Romans chapter 10. This is about a proclaimer, not necessarily a preacher behind the pulpit. Romans 10:13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. How then shall they call on him, and whom they have not believed? When you get in trouble, you want to call on the Lord. Men of great stature, men of low estate. How shall they believe in him in whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? The proclaimer. It doesn't have to be behind the pulpit. It's just a proclaimer. And how shall they preach except they be sent, as it is written? How beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. So this could be a mother. This could be a grandmother, as Lois and Eunice raised a gospel preacher. The father was of no value in a sense because he is a Greek. And Timothy is not circumcised, nor would be his father because he's a Greek. He is, at that time of Timothy's rearing, not a believer. He could not impart what the grandmother and the mother did. So you don't hear Paul saying, when I think about the faith of thy grandmother, and thy mother and thy father. No, the daddy is not a believer. And so we have to understand, can two women raise a gospel preacher? We see it in the text. And he didn't come out gay either. And he didn't come out effeminate. Okay, so we have to say, how would you know? Because Paul doesn't write him a letter and say, make sure that thou art the man. Do not be soft, Timothy, and weak as a female. He didn't have to give him that encouragement because the man is raised a man. So yeah, women know how, if they're of God, to raise a man without a man. But see, you can't do that if you're not of God. And this is what people don't understand. Now, if you take the words of God, then you can accomplish it. Because the scriptures point out that by this same wisdom, princes rule. And this is a thought because we're going to be talking about the White House too. It says in Proverbs 8:15, by me kings reign. It didn't say kings of Judah. And princes decree justice. Verse 16. By me princes rule. And nobles. Even all the judges of the earth. So wisdom says by me. So you're not going to gain this in an educational facility of any kind, including a home, unless it is going to pull from the words of God. It may not give God credit, but it has stolen those words from Almighty God. So now let's get into the error that we see before us, because we must have interaction. This letter, Proverbs chapter 4, this writing, he says, hear the instruction of Father, so it's given with love and care as if you're this person's child. He taught him, don't forget. Verse 5. See, you can't get in the heat of the moment and forget what you've been taught. It doesn't matter. Sometimes policemen say, because we have people that are going to be policemen. Maybe at this congregation, one day we have a policeman goes there to this congregation. We have people we know. I met a young man wants to be a policeman, going to university so he can learn criminal law and different things. So he wants to excel in life, but he's not a member of the church. But nevertheless, he has a friend that's a member of the church. So it would behoove him to understand, because sometimes police officials say, in the heat of the moment, things can get out of control. Yeah, but you yourself said your own rule says don't shoot people in the back. So we don't want to hear in the heat of the moment. In the heat of the moment, you might blow my grandmother's head off if she was still alive. Man, I don't want to hear nothing about no heat of no moment. You shot grandma. It's time to go to jail now. If you don't know what you're doing, don't take the job. They can say all day there's a shortage of policemen. That's what overtime is for. That's what overtime. When I ran companies, I had people on me, and when it got thick, I told them, I'm not working by myself today. Okay, go on, clock me up all the time. I sure will, because I'm not working by myself. Then I'll lock it up and go to my house. You have to hire somebody else to open it up in the morning, because nobody's going to work by themselves. So that's what overtime is for. You know, give everybody 4 hours each. They pay more bill and won't be greedy for filthy lucre, you know. So he says, wisdom is the principal thing. Verse 7. Therefore get wisdom. And without that getting, get understanding. Because you can have wisdom, but you have to have understanding. When can it be applied? Exalt her. What does that mean? Lift her up. Make her the number one choice when you're making decisions. Not your friends. Not your other co-officers. Policemen have a tendency to go, who's going to have your back? Jesus. See, Jesus can have your back as you're going into a dark house, and you don't have to be a Christian because you've practiced wisdom. You've done what you're supposed to. One of the things that we want to express and understand is a study of people understanding certain words that are mentioned in the Bible and the necessity of these words being looked at again and again so we can grab the thought and accept the thought and not go overboard with the thought or fall under the mark that we're trying to reach. We have to understand this word wisdom that we're dealing with is a wisdom from God that you don't have to be a Christian to have. He said all the judges of the earth use this. You have to pull these words from the Bible through an uncle or cousin. So you say, well, you said it wouldn't come from the house. No, it wouldn't come from the house based on the tradition of your father. It comes from people in your home that have taken the word of God and use it to gain their advantage. And it is allowed by God. Whether it's good business practices, being a good politician, being a good judge. Because when you're a judge in a nation, the laws of America are different than the laws of Russia. In those areas. So that judge in Russia, if he uses the words of the Bible, he will exercise them to our different laws that are in Russia. We will exercise them to our different laws that are in America. So they still will work. They are a communist system in certain areas, and we are not. But the same rules apply. How does it apply to the thing? No rule that is evil will work in either nation. You will fall. And that's what the promise is. The individual will fall. That's what Solomon promises us. You will fail. You will not be successful. So we have a case in Atlanta where the policeman interaction with the citizen, both of them did something wrong. Mr. Brooks initiated the error. He did something wrong. And so the officer, both of them about the same age, 27 I believe, he did something wrong. Two opposing forces that did not listen to wisdom. And that's what I want to talk about, because we're tired of seeing dead bodies, and one of them may be one of our children one day, and we sure do not want that to happen. It says here, verse 10, hear, O my son, and receive my saying, and the years of thy life shall be many. So that's why Mr. Brooks lost that.
What scripture there?
Verse number 10 in Proverbs 4. Yeah, still in Proverbs 4. Thank you, my brother. And so his life has been cut short. The officer that shot him, his life is going to be cut short. In the sense, rather will they take a policeman's life for taking someone's life, even though they call it murder. It's rather because that's going to send a message to other officers, just let people go. No, can't do that one either. So out there, rather you see a life taken of an officer, unless he just cold-bloodedly goes and grabs someone innocent. Unfortunately, we have to recognize Mr. Brooks was not innocent. He's not innocent in the fact is that he has violated a couple of things. He's blocking traffic. He's difficult to wake up, showing he's not just sleepy, it's something a little more. And so once they take a breathalyzer, you're under the influence. You should not be in a car. Someone said, well, he pulled over to sleep. Yeah, but the problem is it's something wrong with you because you didn't park in a stall. I ran restaurants. I worked at Wendy's before. If you pull in a stall, nobody will bother you. We used to leave and see cars that, man, I don't know who that is. I'm gone. You get out of here. Come in the morning, it's still there. Go there and peek, make sure nobody did. I'm not going to look at it at night. I'm telling you that now. I look at it in the morning, it's daylight, nobody in there. Maybe somebody else car. I don't bother. I just say he'll be back for it. Because I like to tow the car off. Guys might have stalled on him. I don't know. But you parked in the drive-through lane, which means something wrong with you. Either you fell asleep because the line took too long, which a normal window tap wakes you up. But when you're under the influence, we got almost busted glass to get you up. So it's obvious, the factors are before us, you cannot lie. Of course my heart goes to the family. I've had relatives killed before by criminals. I've had relatives killed by policemen. Unfortunately, both of them were in the wrong. So that was nothing to bring up. And so we have to understand is that I'm not immune to this. I know what I'm talking about. So if somebody love to have someone's experience, well, okay, I've experienced it. So now they can throw that card out the way of discrediting the message that we're talking about. And so we have to understand this process was violated according to Romans 13. There are laws. So one law is violated. The second law rises up. And the gentleman wants to become his own judge. I've judged the case. Let me drive. No, we're not going to let you drive. I've judged the case. Don't handcuff me. No, you can't do that one either. And so once he begins to tussle, all rules are thrown out the window now. But notice they didn't grab the gun and immediately shoot him, which would have been just easy. If I can get the taser, I can get the gun. I can get the gun. So we see step one. And this is how God's wisdom is exercised. I grab a taser, a less deadly weapon. You take it from me. It doesn't matter why you take it from me. You push me away. You're stronger than both of us. But technically not. Because back in the day, I'm sure that wouldn't have happened. They would have handled him in much more different facilitation, should I say. But because of new rules put in place, they got different techniques. He gets away. It's not like the two guys are weak, because believe me, policemen know how to take you down. They do. Believe me, one of them knows how to take you down. And without the gun. But there's certain things you can't do anymore because life has been lost. So far some things have been followed. There's some technicalities mentioned that the individual says, the DA, he was supposed to tell a guy he's arresting him. Well, that's a technicality, and I don't know if that's going to stand very well. And the guy tells you, he doesn't read you a whole lot of things, but he tells you, I'm going to take you in. You can hear I'm going to take you in. Some official saying, I'm about to arrest you for being, he knew something was going to go down because he tussles. He doesn't think he's fixing to hug him. So he had some comprehension. I'm going to jail. See, that's going to come out in court. That's how life is. So what happens now is I run. Now the officer starts to forget wisdom. He forgot the law. I can't shoot him in the back because he hasn't killed anyone. To my knowledge, the officer may think, and he didn't shoot us. So he did turn the gun towards us. Understood. But the thing has been shot, so it can't hurt us. Two things I forgot. So I'm going to put 3 shots in this guy. 2 of them I connect. I don't try to shoot his legs. And then one of them ends up in someone's vehicle. Okay, so I forgot wisdom. Somebody say, why are you going through it? Because we teach the world how to function. This is interaction with police. So what will we do different now? First, we're going to talk to the citizens. And you're citizens, you're members of the church, and this thing goes anywhere I can go. One of the things we have to understand is we have taught, especially African Americans, and to my knowledge, I can see this particular group is all African Americans that's in this particular Bible study. We have other people who are members of the congregation that are not African American, but they're not here tonight. We have taught our children. My dad taught me. I taught my children, both the girl and the boy that we have, my wife Frias, how to interact with police when they stop you. That, what Mr. Brooks did, is not what we taught. I don't know if any parent teaches you to fight the police. I don't know. African Americans have been dogged out in this country, and no one will deny that. We have been killed needlessly by police. We have been killed by citizens, and then they don't even get to go to jail sometimes. So we understand it. So we instruct children. But this isn't just for African American. It's for Anglos, Latinos. It's for Middle East, for Asian, Pacific Asian, whatever you want to name on the earth. Because when the policemen stop you, there's some certain things you have to know what to do. But specifically, because there's this fear built up in other races that we're beasts and monsters, You have to understand that and accept that, so make sure you go out your way when you're stopped. Because this is what the church does. You say, is this what we should be teaching? Yes, because John took time, as we studied earlier this week, in Luke 3, to make sure policemen knew what they must do. And citizens as well. And so one of the things is they were taught, do not abuse. And we're going to deal with that word, what he used. And we're going to show what that word means. That word has a deep meaning, a very deep meaning. Anytime you have a question, comment, please interact. So, when the policemen stop you, a lot of times people have underlying issues and they don't want to go to jail. There is a rumor that is floating around on this case, but Mr. Brooks explained, this is my girlfriend car. Now, he didn't say wife. So there's confusion that started. Like, girlfriend? You see the woman with the 4 children, you go, this is, well, okay, now, no man calls his wife his girlfriend. So that's another woman. So that's been found out. That may do some explanation why he got excited and didn't want to go to jail. So that's a lot of explaining to do. So I got a girlfriend car, not my wife. I've been drinking, celebrating what is believed my daughter's birthday, and I'm in my girlfriend's car. Okay, so we got some stuff here. So this may explain, well, why you broke away. So you as an officer have to understand, I don't know why this guy ran away, but I just can't shoot him in the back. See, I got a lot of explaining to do if y'all take me to jail. Please don't take me to jail. See, that's where we're at. That's kind of, the inference says, well, that makes some sense. Still not wise. So if you want to do what Proverbs say and keep your life, this is what you need to do. Romans 13 tells you how to conduct yourself in the presence of an officer. It don't matter if it's a soldier, if he's Asian, it doesn't matter, all irrelevant. He says, Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject to the higher power. So you should be subject to. Lights come on red, stop. There was a gentleman in Austin that drove for 22 minutes with a cops type show filming. So there's no need to say something went wrong different. And drove into another county. He did not make himself subject to the higher power. He hit 4 objects. The 4th object makes the car stop. That's the only reason he stopped. He probably drove till the gas ran out, possibly. When he gets out of the vehicle, his size is greater than the officer. Both men are African American. Camera's running. Now, they haven't released it yet, so see, I'm going to talk about that. And he tells him to get down, then he tases him. Then he starts saying, I have congestive heart failure and all types of things. And then he dies in their cussing. They try to revive him. It's all on film. But why would you drive for 22 minutes with light? Have you just got your license that day? That isn't it, because he's a man of age. Why would you do that? You're in violation of this. Now God has to judge you. And he's going to give it, for there is no power but of God. So you're denying God his power. The powers that be ordained of God. This is all about God. See, this isn't something you get in the house, even in a Christian home, if the words are not used from the Scriptures. Whosoever therefore resist the power, resist the ordinance of God. This is God's ordinance. So this man and Mr. Brooks resist God's ordinance. This isn't from man. See, this is where we get in trouble at the judgment. Thieves go to hell. Malicious word users go to hell. Adulterers go there. The law says you can marry many women as you want, many men. Well, but the law says I'll put you in hell if those things are repented of. So we've got a higher power. Henceforth, Solomon's statement from the book of Ecclesiastes, don't worry about things done unjustly. There's be powers higher than them. It's coming to the judgment. So he says, and they shall receive to themselves damnation, which is judgment, condemnation. Wow. For rulers are not terrible to do good work, but to do evil. Somebody say, well, what about Mr. Sharp? We're going to talk about him. The officer. Yeah, well, he's the one that's going to be judged, because what does he do? He violates John. John says, don't abuse. And he did. But you can't always handle these cases. You have to let God. Without then, Not be afraid of power. The Lord said, you're not afraid of me. The Lord is saying, you're not afraid of me. Do that which is good, and I shall praise the same. For he is the minister of God. I love verse 4. He works for God to thee for good. So if he does bad, just like crooked preachers, God will judge him. We have to understand that. Now, so we got that much. Now let's look at another thought. Now we're going to go over to Luke. We're going to go over to Luke. And we're going to find Luke chapter 3. And we're going to gain important understanding of this particular word that this great gospel teacher John is going to use. Luke 3:14. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him. Now you see the word demanded, it means to seek. Then they go tell us what to do. But you see the word demand. But that's what it means to seek, to desire. Answer our question. So they weren't rough with him, saying, and what shall we do? I want to be saved too. Every Roman wasn't a demon. And he said unto them, do violence to no man. Violence. He says, so you gotta strike a guy when he's striking you. Obviously, John is speaking of without cause. That's the theme of the Bible. Do not kill without cause. Justifiable cause. He says, neither accuse falsely. Man, I want to talk about this word. Accuse falsely. One of its meanings is to be a fig informer. Listen at this. A reporter of the law forbidding the exportation of figs from Greece. That was what that's that's a word they use. This is a legal word. So John tells him about a legal word. He tells him about, see, so you say, Ozan, why are you talking about this? Because I'm to teach about legalities in whatever land you live in. That's my job. And I'm doing it before I die. I hope to complete it. He says, a sycophant, that is generally by extension to defraud, exact unlawfully, extort, accuse falsely by false accusation. Now watch this. This word is heavy. It's a heavy duty word. This sycophant. Shall I say sycophant, forgive me. A person who acts obsequiously toward someone important in order to gain advantage. He acts as if he's very obedient. So he's telling the policeman, don't act in front of your superiors like you haven't done anything wrong, like you're not crooked. Yes, sir. We arrested them. And the gentleman began to use profanity towards us, and he hurled his fist. And see, you're using good language now before your superiors. And then the citizens, the family come and you lie. For some reason, I don't know why, he took his knife and he swung it. That is, they said, we don't even know to have carry tonight. He said, don't act like you holy, like you just to gain advantage. And lie, he says, because why? God's going to judge you at the judgment. He's telling about their soul. Mr. Officer, when you come before the judgment, God's going to say, you know, you talking real good when the mayor asks you a question, and then when the wife asks you, talking good. We got you on tape in heaven. We got a tape in heaven. It never stops. And I saw what you did. And I'm going to put you in hell. See, because your lawyers, the mayor, even President Trump can't save you at the judgment. So you do well to tell the mayor, for me to do what you said, sir, I'd have to have you fire me, because I'm not going to hit him if he haven't done nothing wrong. I'm telling you not. So that's for all the prejudice places, all the crooked places in Texas that used to be hard for you to come into, being an African American and get out of there with your life, they all at the judgment. Well, you know, Chief Bogey not here, son. You stand before, I don't know about no Chief Bogey. I asked you, why'd you put a bullet in that guy? He didn't do the thing deserved. You forgot your law, didn't you? I'm not going to give you no mercy. You never went to church. You used to arrest folks for going to church. You stood and looked the other way when they burnt the church down in Mississippi, didn't you? You thought I didn't know that? See, that's why you got to have proclaimers. Grandma, with the cane and the one arm that don't work. Baby, don't never take nobody's life that's not trying to take your... That's what you should have took to the police department, son. You got to go to jail, but you might get out, but you got to go to hell. See, that's the problem. And that's for everybody that's involved. So that's a very, very important word that we want to do. Now let's go into some more meat of the lesson. Let's make sure we deal with this particular thought. When the officer stops you, wherever you're at, war-torn or in peace, when he identifies, I'm stopping you. If you don't know how to, lights on, siren, put it on the side of you, doing his sign motion. I remember a guy pulled on the side of me as a truck driver, and all he did was pull over. He let me go. He didn't give me no citation. He could have gave me several. But when he told me that, I started downshifting. I got behind him. I knew what he meant. He never turned a light on. Just well, you know. Now if I go, what? How did you get behind a truck? Are you insane? My hand did that. You see me. Okay, so we have to understand that will make them very angry the longer you take to stop. You said, what's a dark area I don't want to stop? You want to die now, don't you? You're ready to leave the earth. It doesn't matter how dark or in the woods. The Lord said, stop. So when you stop, especially African Americans, turn your engine off. Turn it off. I remember I had a car one night and it was giving me trouble. My daddy came and helped me. I was so used to turn that car off and I wasn't supposed to. But he had taught me so good. And he was on the car with my brother. We stopped and I turned it off. First thing I did, turn it off, put my hands on the steering wheel. When the policeman there, said, I just want to know why y'all lights off. Yeah, we trying to get it home. He left. And we have to go get another car down the street to come jump it again. Because he had taught me it was second nature. It was like breathing. When the officer stopped you, the first thing he do is put it in gear and turn it off. And he was on the car. So I'm not going to embarrass him. He's taught me this, but, unfortunately, I wasn't going to have it revved up. He think we're trying to take off. Better to walk home than to get taken home in a coffin. Amen. So you turn the engine off. Turn the lights on in your car. While he's coming to the car, he's going to see the lights go. He already knows. Okay, we got a good guy here. He knows what you're doing. Both hands on the steering wheel, window down. This is not a time to discuss Martin Luther King. This is not a time to discuss Javier. It's not time to discuss anything. It's not a time to discuss Cinco de Mayo. This is a time to be in subjection. When it comes to the car, good evening, also hello citizen, whatever he's going to tell you. Both hands on the steering wheel. He's going to tell you what to do next. Be listening as he stops you. He may talk to his speaker and say, listen, pull over in the Kmart lot, citizen, driver. Do what he said. When you're sitting there, lights on, he may tell you, open the door with your left hand. He may tell you open with your right hand. Do that. Step out of the car. Hold both hands. Don't get to asking why you do. Get out and be quiet. That's all you got to do. If he tells you, do you have your license insurance? Yes, sir. My wallet is in the center console. My information for the car's insurance is in the glove box. I'm going to get there. Pull the wallet out where you can see. Take the license out. Go in there, let him see. Pull out the paper. If you have a firearm, let him know, sir, I'm a licensed carrier of a firearm. It is in the glove box. I'm going to have to get the paper there. It's on top. I'm going to slide under. He's going to know, okay. He may step back. Don't ask him why he's touching his gun. Just get the license, man. Or get whatever paper in there. Put out and hand it to him. He's going to look in the back. If you have the lights off, it's nighttime. He can't see. I don't know if your buddy's back there with a gun. You just robbed somebody. This is what you do. And so this is how you do. I was with a guy one night. I'm giving a story to show because this is about real life. I was with a guy one night and he almost got us both killed. I'll never forget him. I'm not going to call his name. He wasn't a member of the church. And they stopped us and he gave me a ride home. I'll never ride with him again after that. I told my wife, I said, please come get me. I don't care how long I have to wait. I'll wait till the sun come up. Because the officer told him, he tried to get out the car. He said, don't get out the car. He said, I can't get my wife. He said, don't get out the car. He tried it again. He was nervous. And I told him, I said, what are you doing? Don't get out the car. I'm letting the officer know I'm not with this clown in this action. And so, and the guy got back and grabs his gun. He's nervous. He said, what's wrong with this psycho? He told me later. I said, why did you? He said, I was nervous. I said, that type of nervous could get us killed. I said, man, I got a daughter at home and a wife. I said, you're single. You got nothing. So you don't even live in this place. You're down there working for the summers for whatever. I said, that's my home, man. Don't give me. I said, thanks for the ride. That was it. I'm not riding no more. I said, you'll get us killed. You're too nervous to live. You're the type of person that's you're like a guy on the edge of a mountain and slide off and die. You're too nervous. You shouldn't even drive anymore. If you're that nervous, don't drive. And don't ride with anyone that's nervous because you'll end up in a body bag. That's just the way it is. So let's remember. Now, having said that, to the officers, understand what your job is. No one's going to listen to you in court and forgive you. I'm sorry. You have to understand, you don't shoot into a car because you thought somebody had a gun. You're to protect and to serve. That's your job. That word tells you don't try to show out in front of people like you're so good and so obedient to the law, because that only incriminates you more. If you're too slow as an officer and one of them jumps out the seat and runs, don't shoot him. You need to lose weight, exercise, or whatever, trim yourself down. Whatever you're, I heard some officers say, well, man, man, I'm not fast like I used to be. I put on a few more pounds. I'm not fast like I used to be. Well, dude, don't be an officer. You're too slow to be an officer. Yeah. Keep chasing him. Tell him, you breathe air. Tell him, hey, man, okay. Real like one guy say, yeah, because he told me, man, I've been hitting the donuts to him. I said, man, you can't do that, dude. You kill somebody, man. You can't just start shooting. Let him go. It's not worth it for you, because if you kill him, then you're going to be in jail. Some guys are football players and they are huge inside. They will outrun a guy like me, like lead weight. Yeah, so it depends on your health, your speed. You got asthma, whatever. You have to understand, chase him down. Keep talking on your speaker. Whatever you got to do. Don't use your physique, your health, the strength of your legs or anything, because in the court, when the court comes, they will not accept that. Well, the guy runs fast me, I'll just shoot him when I can't catch him. No, man, you can't do that. And so this guy, this officer in Atlanta, should have kept running behind the guy and pressed his speaker on the chest. They got it, and you can tell him, get your car, man, this guy fast. Chase him. He's going to eventually get tired. The Lord will give you energy because you're doing what's right. He will take his energy because he's doing what's wrong. And if not, maybe the Lord don't want him caught. Maybe the Lord did not want it to be known he was in his girlfriend's car. But I remember playing basketball with a guy, a young guy. That's when I knew it was it for me. Because that guy was dribbling around me like a child. And I kept following him, and I said, man, I don't feel old, but this guy's 16 and I'm in my 30s. I am slow now. Age catches up, Father Time. So you have to understand, you got these young guys, they hyped up already, might be on drugs, and they take off running. You'll never catch him. Just run, keep running behind him. Shine a light on him, see where he's going. Just keep running. Tell the people, I'm on 5th Street. He's going left. He ran in a warehouse. I'm going to stay here and watch him. You breathing heavy, holding your pants and knees. None of us are in perfect shape. That's the way life is. We eat, we live, and life just catches up. Whether you're young or old, it's just the way it is. But you don't want to take another man's life. Say, well, I don't know what he had did, but that's fine. Maybe he hadn't done anything, but it appears the man has an issue that he doesn't want to get caught. Has a prior history. Some people just can't go back to jail. They're like, man, I can't go back. Well, he wouldn't have got very far. He can't hide. Oh, how big the city is. He can't hide. They'll eventually catch him. But now you can't catch him because he's dead. people have to understand this case is different. But both men did not do what they had been taught. They forgot. This other guy, Chauvin, he does not remember. It don't matter if he never went to church a day in his life. Somebody has told him how to treat people right. This is an example of a modern day lynching. This is exactly right, because I got my knee on his neck. I'm not communicating with him. Mr. Chauvin does not communicate with Mr. Floyd. He doesn't. He doesn't say, okay, quit talking. We're going to let you. He doesn't. He just, his mouth is, his lips are together. Mm-hmm. He's letting you know, I'm killing a guy and you can't stop me. The man, everybody else can hear, I can't breathe. He does he not speak English? Chauvin speaks English. And, it's ridiculous. Even if he didn't speak English, you're wondering, well, what is he saying? You would have to, what is he saying? I don't know what he's saying. I do have my knee on his neck, though. I think he can't breathe. Common sense says that. Even if he spoke a foreign tongue. So the officer is to remember what John says. Do not do this to the person. Do not abuse them. Do not put violence. So get back. So we've talked about how to act when the policeman stops you. This is wisdom. We talked about how to act when you're stopping a person that you feel has committed a crime. I don't know to this day, they haven't been explained why this guy drives for 22 minutes in Austin. No one knows. But we do know is that once he's stopped, the case is different. He's tased and his body begins to malfunction because he has heart issues. But one of the things people are going to have to take into account, this is not the same type case. They didn't beat him. They didn't shoot him in the back. They tried to revive him. So people want to put all those under the banner of Black Lives Matter. But see, you can't do that because why? That's not wisdom either. Because this black life is different than the other black life. This black life was stopped by a black man officer. That black life was stopped by 4 officers and none of them were African American. So we have to stop and say, okay, you can't put them all together. I'm tired of waking up seeing black men dead. Yeah, but it's not always the officer's fault. So you can't do it. So that's not wisdom. Your life will not be extended. Why? Because God will look at, man, I don't want to keep you living. See, this wisdom deals with physical life and a spiritual life. The Lord said, I don't want to keep you living. I'm tired. I don't care what your grandma say. You leave in the night. You're going to wake up at the judgment and grandma going to wake up and find a stiff body. And that's the way it is. Because God's like, you're not listening to me. So we have to understand is this is a separate case. Fully filmed by an independent film group. Not a body cam. There was nothing to cut off. Because this show is telling you, no, you sign the paper. Once we start filming, we not stopping. Because this the rule. You shouldn't have got involved with our program. Now here comes another thing. Government interaction. We said it was about government interaction. The government that governs the police force has got to be more transparent. Where there's obscurity, there's sin. I've heard people say, officers and chiefs, even our police chief, they're good guys, both of them, sheriff and our area, good guys, but they have to understand you got to be transparent. We don't care how good you are. We don't care what you're trying to do for the community. You must be transparent. So they said, well, sometimes we have a pending case and we can't release the film. No, we don't want to hear that either. Do you know why that is a lie? Here's why it's a lie. It's a smokescreen by police force. It's governed by government. Everybody and his uncle almost saw what happened to Mr. Floyd. Now, who's going to judge that case? Well, you got to, man. You're going to have 12 jurors of his peer group. And it's going to be hard to find somebody that have not seen that and has a working brain, too. Or heard something about it. So that stuff about a pending case, no. Look, people want to know because the case involves how was my loved one killed. That law has to be changed. That law has to be, and whatever law is attached, it has to be changed. Because grandma want to know what happened to my baby. Maybe he was a crook. Some parents will tell you. They will post stuff. One parent did of their child getting shot. And she said he should have been shot. I'm ashamed of him. Because he turned a gun on the officer for no reason. They had already stopped. So she said, I want all the young people to see this. I wish I could remember her name. She said, to see, don't you ever do this to police, because I taught him different. He was a bad seed. Now that's a great mother right there. That's a mother that the Lord will bless. And we can't go around that. But we have to understand, when the interaction starts, everybody must remember the rules of engagement. Even the military has rules of engagement. A policeman cannot stop a woman of any color, national origin, race, and tell her, I'll let you go with this warrant if you sleep with me in the back of my police car. That's happened too. So she said, all right, nothing, girl. You lost your mind. You do better going to jail than to hell. You already done one thing wrong. Don't make it two. And sin against your flesh. No matter about your babies need mama. It don't matter. I left them and ran the store. You shouldn't have left them by themselves. It's all over for you all the way around. You don't know what you're doing, girl. You forgot all the rules of life. You're not using wisdom. And it don't matter if you're a member of the church. Get your life in order. Because wisdom says if you want life, love me. Wisdom says love me. Listen to me, wisdom says. I will be a crown on your head and an ornament on your neck. I'll give you life. Embrace me. I love them that love me, wisdom says. I cry all over. Early, late. I'll wake you up and say, hey, remember what to do. We have to, the three officers that did not help him, they forgot they are their brother's keeper. That's time to say, hey man, get off it. Hey man, people watching, they got cameras. I'm telling you, if you don't move your knee, I'm going to bump you one time. If you stay, I'm going to bust you in your mouth. I don't care if you're the lead officer. Because I'm not going to jail with you, man. It's hard on officers to go to jail. I'll tell you, just like that. I'm done. That's done. It's just over. And we have to understand, all three of them forgot the rules. And we have to understand something too. The White House. This is the thing we got to understand. This is a very high office. He's called the commander-in-chief. Whatever he is, whoever's in there. Mr. Trump, Mr. Obama, Mr. Bush, it doesn't matter. The instructions are the same. The person has to understand you don't get a pass card because you're not a Christian. See, because wisdom says all the judges of the earth use me. We have to remember that. He's held accountable. It don't matter if he's a member of the church. Irrelevant factors. He had to have heard for wisdom to say, you got to use me to judge. If you want to be like the great judges of the earth. Pharaoh was off the chain, but when he saw what Joseph had, he said, this guy's second to me. Only the thrones of our rule. Whatever he say, y'all do. Don't even deal. Don't even bring it to me. So we have to understand. So the difference is that President Trump has to understand, as a leader, your job has been given to you by God to speak the words that promote wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. It does not matter if you're a Republican and they support you or not. It doesn't matter about the citizens of this nation. It's irrelevant factors. The factor is that you must remember great men like Nebuchadnezzar from the book of Daniel that stood up and said, this is the God of gods. This is the King of kings, the Lord of lords. He is the one. And everywhere that men reign, he is over them. You have to understand, you can't try to get re-elected by being quiet when it's time to speak up. You have a job given you by God. It doesn't matter what country you're in. You must speak up when error is shown. You must. Because that type of wisdom can get you in office, but will get you put in hell. Why? Because God has said, you work for me. All y'all work for me, that's what the Lord said. You don't have an existence without me. Listen, look at Proverbs chapter 8. I'm going to wrap it up here. Proverbs 8 and 12. Proverbs 8 and 12. Our wisdom dwell with prudence and find our knowledge of witty invention. Wisdom say, I'm the one to make people come up with stuff. You say, how did that guy figure that out? Well, wisdom. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign and princes decree justice. We read these verses earlier. By me princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and seek those, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. It cannot be done in a way this woman, Candace Owens, speaks out, because the guy has a criminal history, Mr. Floyd. We shouldn't honor that he died. And I said, yeah, you got to honor any time someone dies that isn't resisting. You don't have a choice. We have to understand. And to know the president can do it, this is what his enemies would want. Like Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar, this is what your enemies want. They want you to be quiet so you can fail. But you have to speak up. You have to be a man. All of us. Me and a woman has to be a woman. You have to stand up and speak when evil is being done. It doesn't matter if you're a member of the church. If you want your job to bring you glory and honor, and you want to hold on to your riches and keep the things you have, the prestige of office of president, you got to open your mouth according to what God said. Not preach, because you can't. You're not a member of the church. But you can rise up and say, okay, now this is wrong, what happened here. Just like he rose up and said, get control of the city, you have to also rise up and say, get control of the police department and stop killing innocent people. See, but wisdom of the world says, okay, well, don't say too much right now. You need to get back in office, and then you can do what you want to do. No, see, God don't work like that. See, that's the kind of wisdom that when you're coming for the judgment, the Lord will say, well, you did a good job running the country, but you didn't do what I told you, managing your soul. And you can't live with me, fella. They don't even do the things that you taught when you were on earth anymore, because you're here before me now. See, that's what a person has to understand if he should die before the Lord return. That's why John told Herod, you got the wrong woman, man. Spoke to him from the law of Moses. You can't have your brother's wife still living. Cost him his life. John wasn't worried about stuff like that. I gotta tell you too, Herod. It wasn't a pot shot. Yeah, you got the wrong woman. He didn't do it like that. He was telling him about his soul. When Jesus heard what Herod had done, when Jesus comes before Herod, whichever ruler that is wearing that title, when he comes, he doesn't even, and it's the same God, but it's the same message. Oh, he doesn't even speak to him. So I'm desiring to see you. Show me something. Show me something. Jesus doesn't say a word. Call him a fox when the other people ask him about him. Tell that fox, I'm going to do my work. Jesus had no respect. Well, you kill a man, innocent. Don't even ask me nothing. Whatever you heard about Moses, you better do that. That's all that do is what Moses taught him. Everybody know about Moses. He's been preaching all the cities the Lord spoke through the writers. So we have to understand this, saints. If you're here, you're not a member of the church, recognize that the interaction is critical to your life. What you allow. Your interaction with the Lord is critical. How will you become one with Him? You say, I've been baptized already. Acts 19:1-5 says you're not safe if you're not a member of the church. How do you know you're a member of the church? Are you using instruments? Are women leading you in service? Are you having titles, doctor, reverend, most holy, father, all types of things like that? You're not in the right church. Are you teaching tithes and offering? You're not in the right church. Even if it say Church of Christ, you better fix it and show you are approved of God. So we understand that Jesus said, if you believe what? That He died, was buried, third day, rose again. Mark 16:16. Taking that from 1 Corinthians 15:1-4. He says, you'll be saved. If you believe not, you'll be damned. You have to be baptized. Just believing alone is not enough. You have to be baptized. If you believe that, they asked the great teacher, Peter, what shall we do? Acts 2:37. He said, verse 38, repent and be baptized, every one of you. For the remission of sins, you shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. For the promises unto you, and unto your children, unto all that are far off, even as many as the Lord our God shall call. And with many other words, he testified and encouraged them. Save yourself, which means they were lost from this untoward, which means perverted generation. Then they gladly received his word, were baptized the same day. 3,000 souls added unto them. What did they continue? The apostles' doctrine. That's the only rule we have. The breaking of bread, prayers, and the fellowship to walk in the light as Christ is in the light. Taken from 1 John chapter 1, the epistle. The Lord added to the church daily that such should be saved. Acts 2:47. That's the only way you get in. We have to accept that. The eunuch wants to get baptized. He's a great man. He's like our national treasurer. Great man of great authority. The Ethiopians always had a reputation of being large armies and lots of wealth. But he's here worshiping incorrectly because he's a proselyte of the Jewish belief. And it's over. Philip tells him what to do. He sees the water and acts out there. He said, what is me to be baptized? He says, if you believe with all your heart you may. He says, I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He didn't forget you got to be baptized. He didn't forget. And so we see rejoicing begins. And we have to understand, God bless you, brother, we have to understand that in 1 Corinthians 12:13, it's important, brethren, it has to be done right. Can't forget. He says that baptism is the entrance. 1 Corinthians 12:13, for by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body. That's the church, Colossians 1:18. Well, the Jew, Gentile, bond of friend have all been made to drink into one Spirit. That's no matter what your position is, like policeman, criminal, leader of the world, nation, it doesn't matter. You have to do that. Because God does not respect any of those other things. If we believe that and accept it, Peter says the same. 1 Peter 3:21 and 22, the like figure way unto even baptism does also now save us. So it doesn't have nothing to do with the thief on the cross. It's a mute subject. Not the putting away the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward God by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who's going to heaven, angel authorities and powers being made subject unto him. If you believe that, you can be baptized right now, because the Lord said in Revelation 2:10, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. You have tribulation 10 days. Be faithful unto death. Yeah, remember last night. We've got to be faithful, brother. We've got to. If anybody needs to be baptized, touch the triangle at the bottom of the message. It'll direct you to a phone number where we will direct you to where you can be baptized no matter where you live. But if you're here, you need to be baptized, stay standing. But if you're here and you're already a member of the church, you've gotten off track, don't play with your soul. It's too critical. You've got to get it right with God. Don't be embarrassed about asking for prayer, because it's the prayer that you don't ask for that will not be answered and God will not rescue. Come now, together we stand and sing heaven's invitation. Softly and tenderly Jesus is calling. Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
Calling for you.